Before we begin, I just wanted to show you how our final project is going to be looking like. So this is going to be our final project for the packers and movers system. So you can see that you are at the home page, and you can see our design the way it looks like. So you can navigate to services. You can be able to see the services that are being offered on this system. You can also check on the request, whereby as a client you can be able to request for particular services. You insert your full name, contact, email, origin, destination. You select what type of service do you need, select the schedule date of when do you want the service to be done for you. You can check the login page, and you can also check the sign up. So this is just like the first series of our project, the front end part. In the next series, we're going to do the back end with the admin dashboard and be able to insert data in the database and be able to log in and make our project to be more interactive. Hi guys, today we want to create a system for movers and packers system that will enable clients to be able to request the movers and packers people to come and help them transfer or transport goods from one place to another. So we are going to start with our first series of this application, whereby we're going to create the user interface design, which is the front end part of the users, to show how the users are going to be interacting with the system. So once we are done with the first series, we will proceed to the connection of the front end part with the database, whereby we'll be able to implement a PHP connection to the database so that the clients can be able to interact with the system. But the first thing first, we need to be able to set up a UI design for the users to interact with the system later on. So what you're going to do, you have to make sure that you've installed in your machine Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is going to help us to develop our application. And you should also understand that apart from Visual Studio Code, you can use any editor of your choice, be it Sublime Text that you are comfortable with. So I've chosen to use the Visual Studio Code because it comes with inbuilt extensions, and it supports a variety of languages that can be used in this particular in any particular project you want to develop. So you can go to the website on your browser, and you can type code.visualstudio.com so that you can be able to get your own editor for your project. If you're using Windows, you can have options for Windows, we have options for Linux, and we also have options for Mac OS systems. So we should begin. And the first thing, because we're dealing with the front end, so it's going to be easy and nothing is tough here. So you just have to follow along with the series tutorial until you finish to the end. It's a good practice for beginners to be able to understand how to develop like static websites for themselves, because this is a web-based application that require you to understand all the web-based languages that are needed in this project. So you need to have a basic understanding of HTML. You also need to have a basic understanding of CSS. At some point, you also need to have a basic understanding of JavaScript. In future, we might be adding some JavaScript to our project, but you can just develop a static website using HTML and CSS only. They all come with their own qualities. If you want to make your project responsive, that it can adapt to smaller devices like mobile phones or desktop devices, it's easy to implement that using what we call media queries in CSS. So you need to familiarize yourself with media queries. And if you're a beginner, you can just opt to go to w3schools.com. You can be able to get like some basic information about a particular language you want to be able to use in your project. You can also try to understand what you can be using JavaScript for. JavaScript is quite large, and you can't just exhaust it at once. So if you want to be a full stack developer of JavaScript, there's a lot to learn. Apart from that, just making your website dynamic, there's also Node.js, which is a framework for JavaScript that can enable you to develop the backend of the project. So you don't need languages like PHP when you're developing like a full stack project with JavaScript. But in our case, we're going to use PHP because PHP is a web server scripting language that enables us to be able to create server-side programs that can be able to be integrated inside the front-end application built in HTML and CSS. So let's begin our project by right-clicking on the desktop and clicking on New option. Then you select a folder. So you create a new folder because we're going to be building movers and packers system. So just give it initials MPS to represent movers and packers system. Once you've created that, you can just drag and drop to where your Visual Studio Code is, or you open Visual Studio Code and then you open up a folder. So we should begin setting up our project structure, and our project structure is going to be like this. We need to set up where we're going to be storing our files, and we're going to be organized. So we need to set up where we're going to store our CSS files, our images and everything, so that you don't have to make your project look dirty and disorganized, so that when someone else is reading through your code, they don't find it hard. So we begin by creating a folder name called assets. Asset is a folder that is going to hold most of our project that we're going to be using inside our project, most of the files that we're going to be using inside our project. Once you create the folder name called asset, you can click on it, make sure the arrow is pointing down, then you create another folder called CSS. So CSS is going to hold our styling CSS file for the project, and then you can see that it's underlined, so meaning if you click here it will create another folder inside CSS, but we don't want to do that. So we want to create a folder inside assets. So you go back, you make sure it's underlined, and then you can click back on the new folder, then you create another folder called images, click enter. So now you have two folders inside the assets folder that we're going to be using, and then you can close that, and then you click on the root folder. The root folder name is called MPS, movers packers system. So the root folder, we want to create our index file that is going to be our home page, because we're going to have a home page, a landing platform, whereby all the clients, when they come, they can be able to land there, they can see what services you guys are offering, they can be able to navigate through on the navigation menu. So what we're going to do, we're going to create our index.html file. So index.html file, click enter. The reason that's why I chose Visual Studio Code is because it's a powerful tool and it's an open source, so you can be able to use it in any of your operating systems, and it comes with inbuilt extensions for your application. It supports variety of languages, be it PHP, Jupyter, Python, all types of languages. And then it makes your work easier because it helps you to come up with syntax very quickly, especially for syntax for the HTML files. So if you're a beginner, you need to have a basic understanding of HTML basics, and if you don't know how to do that, you can go to w3schools.com. That can really help you to start over. It's free. Every beginner starts from w3schools.com, and it's a powerful website that has a lot. It has been improved now. You can even get satisfied on what you're learning. So there's a lot that you can be able to learn. There's HTML, there's CSS, there's JavaScript, Python, SQL, PHP, Java. And actually, being a web developer doesn't just turn out to on the HTML part only. It's like a roadmap, a journey that you have to take. So you begin from the HTML, you understand the basics, so the HTML becomes like the foundation or the skeleton of your project. Then you move on to styling. Now you want to put some beauty. Just like the way you can see this website of W3 Schools, you can see the logo, W3 Schools, the navigation at the top, you can see the tutorials, references, exercise. You can see the home page is Learn to Code. These colors that you're seeing on this particular platform, these are all because of CSS. So without CSS, you cannot be able to put this the look and feel of this project. So we're also going to be needing the CSS. So as you can see, the way it has even been structured, you start with the HTML, you come with the CSS, you come to JavaScript. Once you know these three languages, you are able to develop a project from scratch to finish, either be it a static website or an interactive one. When you read JavaScript will start with the basic, but if you want to go deep down into JavaScript as a full stack developer for JavaScript, you learn more on JavaScript frameworks like Node.js that will facilitate you to learn how to create server-side programs. So that once you've created a static website and you want to be able to interact with that particular website, you need to be able to have a server side that can be communicate with the database, and the database is also built with a different language called SQL. Or most developers decide to go with the Python, others decide to go with the PHP. So you can either choose PHP or you go with Python to be a full stack developer and develop a complete website from scratch. So as you're going to choose the PHP part and the SQL, so that you can be able to create a full-scaled application to finish. So in our first series, since it's the genesis of our project, we're going to build just the front-end part to be able to see how the user interface is going to be looking like. Then later on, we can come and design our database and our PHP server side, and then make our application interactive and maybe more dynamic. In that short notice, you need to be able to understand how the syntax of HTML looks like, and with our Visual Studio Code, it's easy for us to be given the syntax so that you can just concentrate on what matters in your project. So you type HTML5, you click enter, it gives you the syntax of HTML. So what we're going to do, we're going to change our title from document to movers and packers system. So you can just write MPS, and probably you can just say that this is the home page. In fact, it should be the other way around, so that someone can know they are on the home page, movers, packers system. So what you need to understand is all the code that will be written and be viewed on the browser will reside under the body tag element. So inside here is where we're going to write all our code that we'll be able to view on the browser. The header file is just going to hold our metadata files. We're also going to hold our title and also hold our external link to our CSS file. So you should also understand that there's three types of implementing CSS files or CSS codes in our project. You can do what we call internal CSS, or you can do what we call external CSS, or you can do what we call inline CSS. By inline CSS, we mean that you write inside, like let's say for example, inside our body tag, you say style, background color to be maybe aqua. So probably when I go to load this one on the browser, you should be able, that's what we call inline CSS. You should be able to see that the background color has changed to aqua. So that's why you can be able to see this. So that's what we call inline CSS. We can as well change from aqua to, let's say, red. And when you go to reload your browser, you should be able to see the color changing to red. So that's what we call inline CSS. We'll be able to do that as we progress by. Another thing we call is the internal CSS. So the internal CSS is written at the header tag or inside the tags, any tags of themselves, but this is the syntax. You first start with the style tags, then inside you call the element you want to style. It can be a class name, it can be an ID name, it can be an element tag itself. For example, we say body. So body, and you put the parenthesis. This is the syntax of how you should be writing the CSS in the internal. So you say that the body, we want the background color to be black. You save, you reload your page, and you can be able to see the changes. So that's what we call the internal CSS. As we're not going to put the internal CSS, we'll be dealing with the external CSS. So our external CSS is going to look like this. So you have to put the link to your external CSS. So you need to understand how to put link. That's why it's important to understand the basics of the HTML. So you say link, then the relation type is going to be a style sheet, because this is what we are dealing with, the style sheet. So this is the syntax of how you should put for your external CSS. So the relationship type is style sheet. Then you need to reference to where the CSS is being pointed to. So you should use the href, and then you set up where your CSS is located. Remember that we created a folder name called assets. So you access the asset folder. And inside assets you need to access CSS, but we haven't created our file yet. So you just create it right here, style.css, but remember to make sure that you've created it before you proceed. So we have our style.css. So we call this one our external CSS, file. It's also important to comment your code so that it can enable other readers to be able to go through your code and understand what you're doing. So the end of our external CSS is there, end of our external CSS file. You can save your file and you come at the asset inside CSS, create that file name by clicking the first new file, then you call it style.css. Once you've created style.css, it will take you to a blank page. Here you can be able to now call your elements, either the tag elements or the class name or the ID names. So since we haven't started coding yet, I just want to explain to you what you need to understand. So we can call our body tag element. So body tag element, we can comment. You can comment by clicking control and / with the one that has the question mark on your keyboard, and then you can say end of body tag. So I just want to show you how the external CSS looks like. Then you call the body tag. So just call the body tag the way it is. You say body, you put the parenthesis, and then now this body, you want to probably give it a background color, for example. So you can say either you can say background color or you can say background. So give it a background color of probably, let's say, black, or there's another color called cadet blue. So the cadet blue is able to be reflected in our code. So if you go to your browser and reload, you can see that it changes from black to cadet blue. So that's how we're going to do our external CSS. You can also try to see how it looks like by putting a border where it ends, saying border, and then you give the border the color that you want to use. Maybe you want to use it as black, and then you want to give it thickness, maybe 2 pixels, and then you also want to make sure that is it solid, dotted, or so ours is going to be solid. And then you can go back to your browser, you can reload. You can see that you have it there, but since there's nothing inside, I just want you to be able to see changes that are going to be put into place. Probably try to give it a height of, let's say, 500 pixels. You go and reload. You should be able to see that the height has increased, and you can be able to see where your body starts and ends. So you go back to your CSS. So we need to be able, you go back to your index file. We need to be able to have a top navigation bar whereby users can be able to click from one link to another. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a top navigation bar. So first of all, comment and say this is going to be top navigation bar, and make sure you comment your code so that you can be able to understand because the code is going to be growing. You should be able to understand where to find a particular code section. So this is the end of the top navigation bar. Once you come here, we should be able now to create the top navigation bar. So you can say, it's easy when you say, you give it a period, and then you say, you call it navigation or header. Let's just call it navigation. And then you click enter. Automatically it creates for you a div tag element with a class name called navigation. And we're going to be styling our CSS using the class names. So it's important to understand how you're going to be calling the class names inside CSS. And we're going to be doing that using a period. A period is a full stop, for those who don't know. I remember in my previous video when I was doing the food app, I was calling it an asterisk. But an asterisk is very different from a period. So right now we're going to have our top navigation. So we're going to create what we're going to be needing in our top navigation. So in our top navigation, you're going to have a place for the logo. So you should be able to comment that this section is going to be for the logo only. So we're going to have a place for our logo. So you can start with the period again and tell this is going to be our logo section. And then inside our logo section, we're going to use an image to hold our logo, and probably we're going to have an image and a name. So what we're going to do, if you want to include an image inside your project, you need to use the image tag elements. So you come and say img, and then the image tag, we need to have a source where you're getting the image from. So the src, and then we'll come and put the URL link, or rather the URI link to where the image is located. We can put an attribute name called alternative. Basically, the src stands for source, and this one stands for an alternative. This is what we call the attribute names. And if you navigate, when you hover on top, you can see that the Visual Studio Code is giving you some description about the attribute themselves. So you can say this is the attribute defined an alternative text description of the image. So, and when you come here, the image URL, this attribute is mandatory for the image tag element on the browser supporting source set, blah blah blah. So you can see that this is for holding our URL where the image is located, and this one is just an alternative, just in case the image fails to load, you can be able to, the alternative is showed instead. So this one is going to be the logo, and we can put more attributes like setting up the width. We can say that the width is going to be like, let's say 50 pixels. You can also put the height. The height is also going to be like 50 pixels. Then you can close your tag like that. So how you close the image tag, this is how you close it. Unlike the div blocks, the way you close it is different, but the image tags are closed like this. So you need to understand these syntaxes very well to be able to code without any problems. So once we are done with that, I think we'll come here and try to put the URL to our logo, and then our logo is going to be stored inside the images. Right now we don't have the logo image yet, so we can just like guess or assume that our logo is going to be either a PNG file, a JPEG file, or a JPG file, depending on the type of extension that is coming. We'll go to the browser and try to download images or icons that can be able to be used in this particular project. I have a feeling that we can have our navigation to have a place whereby we can have the title of our project. Apart from the logo itself, we can have a place for the title. You can decide to have a title in the middle, or you can decide to have a title following the logo image itself. It's important for me to say that I would like the title to be immediately after the image logo itself. So this is going to be called Packers and Movers Management System. Packers and Movers System. You can just call it like that, Packers and Movers System. I don't know if the spelling is right, unknown word. Yes, that's the correct spelling, Packers and Movers System. And then once we are done with that, we're going to have links whereby we can be able to click from one link to another. So we have to create another div block that is going to be for our links. So we just say .links. It will give it a class name of links. And I told you that when you put a period and the name of the class name, it automatically autofills your entire div section block. And don't forget to also comment on your code. So this is going to be navigation links, and then you have to say that your end of navigation links ends here. So inside our links, when you go through the HTML basics, you're trying to study how links are being created, you'll come across unordered lists. You'll come across ordered lists. So this is the part whereby you're studying how to put lists inside your system, and links also. So here we're doing a combination of links and lists, because lists will list the items you want, and links will enable you to navigate through the items you want. So doing a combination of this helps you to create links that are clickable. So what you do here, we're going to use the unordered list. So just write UL and click enter, and inside this since we are creating links, you have to put the link tags. So the link tags are put with an a tag, and then it has an attribute called href that will give us the URL of our links. And then once we are done with that, you close, and the tag also should close. But inside these link tags, we need to put the list tag, which is the li, and then we can say this is going to be home. So you can just make your work easier by copying and pasting several times. Probably you're going to have a home, we're going to have an about section, we're going to have a login area, and we're going to have a sign up, for example. And we are done with the links. We can even test this one on the browser and see how it looks like. So you go to your browser, reload the page, you should be able to see something like this. Basically, it looks very disorganized, so that's where our CSS comes in. And before we proceed with our CSS, we need to get ourselves a logo. And as I told you, if you don't have a logo, or the image fails to load, then alternative is showed instead. That's why you can be able to see this name logo over here, because we have used the alternative attribute to showcase this kind of work. So go to your browser. There's a website called flaticons.com or Flatty Icon. Click on that. You should be able to get a variety of free logos you can be able to use in your project. They're very nice, well put, and I think I like using the website because of that, those particular icons. So what we need to do, we can just get a good icon. Maybe you can just say truck, because you're dealing with the movers and packers system. This is a system that will enable clients to be able to book the organization business to be able to come and facilitate transportation of furnitures, depending on what you want to transport. Or maybe you're trying to relocate to a new place, you can be able to go and request for that quota from the system. As we progress by, you'll be able to learn a lot from this logic of our movers and tracker system, and you can implement and tweak it to your own project. And maybe if you have like a crazy idea like I do, you can be able to come up with a lot. So you can type truck, and then you should be able to see, I typed the wrong truck, so it gave me like this, which is also good because you can be able to use the GPS, but that's not the truck we want. It's the truck with the U, truck. You can close this one. So you can see that already you're getting like some icons. So these one are coming from Adobe stock, but Adobe stock, they come with watermarks behind, and probably we need the one with watermarks behind. So when you scroll down, you should be able to see all the icons that are residing inside the flaticon.com. You can choose any image of your liking to be your icon. So I'm going to be simple. I'm not going to complicate myself, but I like colorful icons. So probably I should pick something that depicts a logo, and I'm going to pick this one. So I'll download this as a PNG file. I'll just download the free version of it. Then maybe I can just make this lady happy by saying copy link, so that her face should change. Oh, yeah, so she feel elevated because probably I've supported her work. So now once you see the delivery truck.png, just go to where it's located. Maybe it's inside your downloads, or maybe if you have a setup to be stored in different location, make sure you track to where it is. So mine is delivery truck. I'll change the name to logo. So I'll rename it to logo. Click enter, and then I should be able to copy or move. I'll cut so that I can move it to my project. My project is located inside desktop, so I should be able to navigate to my desktop, and I should be able to look for MPS. There it is. I go to inside the assets, and I enter images. I should be able to paste it there. By pasting, you click Ctrl+V. You should be able to paste. To copy is always Ctrl+C. To cut is Ctrl+C. Okay, you'll learn about that later. So once you're done with that, you should be able to come and reload the page, and you should be able to see your track shown there, and the reason why we are being able to see it clearly is because we already set up the attributes, the width and the height. If you remove this one, the logo will be huge and it will be distorted. So you can see that it's huge and distorted. So you Ctrl+Z, you go back to your default settings, and then you can be able to see that the track has been located there. So right now, what we want to do, we should be able to go back to our styling. We need to style our navigation menu. So you go to our CSS, click on style.css. Now there we are styling the body. Right now, don't worry, we'll come back and start changing things. We just want to get started and see what we are doing. So we'll be using a lot of border, background colors, because we need to see the visual presentation of our work. So we're going to style the navigation section. So we will comment this part and say that this is the part whereby we are styling our navigation section. So call the navigation, because you are calling it by class name. So to call a class name, you use a period. So you say navigation, put the parentheses. Since we want to see where our navigation is located, you can just use the border. You say border is going to be of thickness 2 pixels. It's going to be solid, and then the color you can put black, so that you can see what you're doing. Go back to your browser, reload the page. You can see that this is where the border ends for our top navigation. So as you can see, when you go back to your index.html, I want to explain something in the simplest form possible. We talk about the parents and the children. So when you look at this particular syntax, you can check that the HTML has a closing tag at the bottom, which means the HTML is a parent to any other element that belongs inside the HTML tags, like the header, the body itself. They are all children of the HTML tags. Again, inside these children we have extra HTML tags like meta, title, link. These are just like, but the children for the header, which makes the header to be the parent for them, or rather they are the grandchildren of the HTML tag. When you come to the body, anything that resides inside the body is the child for the body, and anything that resides inside the child for the body, the grandchild for the bigger body. So what you're going to do, I will need to be able to explain to you for your understanding, to be able to see how you're going to be styling your parents and your children, and how you're going to be inheriting attributes from your parents to your children, so that you can be able to understand how to do your styling of your HTML syntaxes. So we begin by the navigation is going to be the parent for the div, the logo, and the links, which makes the logo and the links to be some sort of brothers. So anything that you do in the parent is going to be adapted for the logo and the links. So if you tell the parent navigation that I want you to have a display of type flex, it's going to apply to both the logo and the links. So there's a website called CSS Tricks of Flexboxes. Yes, this is it. CSStricks.com. CSStricks.com is powered by DigitalOcean, and it has like powerful explanation of so many tricks on HTML flexboxes you can be able to use in your project. So I actually wanted to get the CSS tricks on flexboxes, so just pick CSS tricks and techniques on using cascading style sheet. If you click on that, I'm just going to showcase to you a brief. Let me type it because I just want it the exact thing I wanted. Flexbox CSS tricks. If I type like this, I should be able to get a complete guide to Flexbox. Since we're going to use Flexboxes in our project, So this is a complete guide on how you can be able to use flexboxes. When you come to study this, if you've understood a little bit of CSS, it makes your work easier and friendly, because flexboxes are adaptive to devices. You can be able to shrink, you can be able to expand or your elements using the CSS flexboxes. So you can go to this website, you can be able to read some basic knowledge about properties for the parent, flex container, the way you're calling your class name, and anything that resides under the class name, like the children, how you're going to be able to style them, what are display flex, things like those, flex direction, is it going to be raw format or is it going to be column. You come and study about flex wrap, just in case you have like extra amount of elements that are inside a particular parent element, they can be able to automatically go to the next line. When that's what we call the flex wrap. You learn about the flex flow. If you want it column wrap, maybe they should start from the flex end or flex start, space between, space around, space evenly. All these type of properties, you're going to be seeing them in our project. Aligning items, is it at the top, at the bottom, at the center, the baseline, all these type of items. So I'm not going to go through this because this is self-explanatory. You can take the extra set to go and study about it, how you can be able to be good with flex boxes. So we go back to our project. We want to style the navigation. When you go to your browser, you can see that it looks very disorganized, so it doesn't look like that nice. So I want to make sure that they are all residing on the same row, so that we can make it uniform and create our navigation to be presentable and user-friendly. So you come at the bottom, you say, I want to put a display of flex. So by default, when you say display flex, it align items in a raw format. Let me go back and see if I've written it correctly. No, so there's a syntax error, and this is the syntax error. So display flex, and then you end your statement with the colon, with the semicolon. So this is the syntax. This is what we call the property, shorthand, not the shorthand, but the property. Right now it's called a shorthand property because I'm combining the thickness and the type of the line that I want, the border I want, and the color. So it becomes the shorthand. So I can say border thick, border bottom, border top, blah, blah, blah. We have the display flex. Display the property, flex its value, and you have to always be ending it with a semicolon, but in between, before you put a value, you have to put the colon. So you need to understand the syntax very well, because if you get wrong with the syntax, your project is not going to run properly the way you want it to run. And if you don't understand these things well, it's going to give you frustrations. So if I say display flex, I should be able to see things changing to be in a raw format. The reason as to why you can see packers and movers is below the icon is because they reside in a different, in their own section, which we call the logo class. So the link class, it's in itself. So because the navigation has two children, which is the logo and the links, we are able to see them following each other because we have told the navigation to put them in a row. So once we are done with that, you should go and tell it that apart from just saying that it's a display flex, you need to be able to style it. I want the links to be on the other end, and I want the logo to be on a different end. So one should be on the left side and the other one should start from the end. So there's so much you can do with that. You can come and use what we call justify content. When you say justify content, you can say like, I want to put what we call a space between. So this will put a space between the elements or the items that have been specified, so that you can see that the links start from the far end and the icons start from the beginning of the project. Once we are done with that, you can be able to come and now tell the child that reside inside the navigation, we start with the logo. So here just say logo. You can comment and say the logo ends here. It's always good to comment your code for easy readability, and because we want to be as simple as possible, as this is a school project, and it's helpful for students to understand how they can be coding their project from scratch and not using frameworks and everything just from the beginning level. We are calling the logo class, put the parentheses. So always use the border to be able to see where you are at. 2 pixels solid, and then we can say that color is black. So right now we're just putting our foundation of the project before we can make everything look more fancy. And now we want to repeat this display flex. Here you can just copy and paste that part. Come and see. There you have it. And you can see that it doesn't look that fancy, but you can see that the display flex is showing how we want it to be looking like. Again, you can come and say, since we have the border and the display flex, it's easy to tell everything that resides inside the logo class to be at the center. And since you're using display flex, when you're using margin and you put margin auto, it automatically calculates the space and aligns everything equally by consuming the space that has been left. So when I say dot logo, and then I put the greater than symbol, and then I put the asterisk, this is what I mean. I mean that everything that resides, let me just write it as a comment. Everything that resides within the logo class will adapt the properties set. Will adapt to the properties set. So right now what I wanted to do is I wanted to give everything to have a margin auto so that they can be centered in the middle. And there you go. So you see at least it brings uniformity, and you can just put a little space between the icon and the title itself, the packers and movers system. So what you can do with this one, since here is about everything, now you just want to access the title. You can say, I can comment and say moving the title a little bit to the left. From, not to the left, from the left side. From the left side. That is the same as saying moving towards the right side. So I'll say I have to access the class name, which is the logo, but I have to access the title tag, which is the H1 as the header tag. And then I say margin to the left. Margin left, give it 10 pixels. Come and reload your browser. You should be able to see that it has slightly moved to the right side from the left side. So we leave it at that point. We want to come and style all these links. Then we can be able to make our navigation to look fancier. And you'll see how we're going to make this to be very cool. You come and tell yourself now, after you've done doing the logo, you come to style the links. And then this is going to be called end of styling the links. When I put 2 / that means it's the end of that particular section. So inside here, we are going to call the links. So you call the link class. I remember I had called it links. If you go and check on your HTML, you can see the links. So right now what we're going to do, we're just going to put some border so that you can know where you are at. So just copy this one to make our work easier and move a little bit fast. Reload the page. You can see that you have it right where you need it to be. But then again, you need to style it in a way that they are in a raw format, so they follow each other. You copy the links. Here I'll comment and say, make sure the links are aligned in a row and not in a column like they are right now. Paste that. You need to access the unordered list tag, and then tell yourself that this is going to be display flex. Now you see when you're using flex boxes, it makes your work easier. so you don't have to struggle all the time. You can see now we're getting where we want to be, but you can see, yes, they are aligning in the way we want, but they are so much closer to each other. So what you need to do, you can just say, give it a gap of, let's say, 10 pixels and see what happens. There you go. You can see that they have given themselves space, so you can be able to see each link on independently to itself. So you can see that also we have these dots that are residing. This is because of the list tag. When you're using list, always by default they are given a list style type, and this is a circle list style type. And also you can see that the links are being underlined. This is because of the link tag. So we will remove this one, and this is how we're going to be able to remove them. So copy this one, scroll a little bit down so that you can give yourself space to see what you're doing. And then here I'll comment removing the list style type and the text decoration. Text decoration is from the links itself, so I just put them in one comment, then paste that. But remember, you're accessing the a tag, so the link tag, and then you say text decoration none. When you set text decoration to none, it will remove the underlines. You can see the underlines are gone, but the circular dots are not yet gone because those ones belong to the list type. So you come here, copy that, paste, access the list style type, the list, and then say list style type none. So you set the list style type to none. So when you go, you reload the page, you can be able to see that they are gone. Then again, you can see that the links are exactly from the right side, so there's no space in between. So you can just push them a little bit to the left so that you can see the uniformity. And remember that the only way you can do that, you can just come to the links itself here and tell it, I want you to move a little bit from the left side so that you can give the space from the left side, not just to end immediately at the border. So what you do, you can just use margin to the right. You can give it like 20 pixels. Then you can view, see how it is. You can see that it has moved away because you're going to remove the border, so it's still going to bring the uniformity. So right now what we're going to do, we need to start removing the border of the entire. You come back to the project. We need to give our navigation some background. So I think black goes well with the cadet blue, so I say background color, set it to black. But remember, when you set background color, everything, this wording, all of this wording will get lost apart from the blue one, because here we have a word, our title. So we should say that yes, in as much as we're getting the background color to be black, we can say the color of the text. So you use the property color. We can use actually Alice blue. I like the Alice blue. It's not white and it's not that dark. So the color of the text changes to Alice blue. And you can be able to see now the dark background doesn't consume our text. But here, yes, you can be able to see the links, but the color is a little bit dull for our project. So we need to change the color too. So what we're going to be able to do, we need to access the links and set the color maybe to white. We will navigate to where the links are. So we go back to our links here, then set the color. I don't know if it's going to work here, but let's just try. It is always good to try than not to. So because it's hard for us to access the links, we should just go direct to where the text. So we go to where the link tag is, paste that particular code there, reload the page. You should be able to see that the color has changed to our Alice blue. So here again, what we can be able to do, we need to be able to see if we can be able to hover and change this color of these texts. In as much as we've done this, I want to try something new that I haven't tried, because I'm imagining if it can work. If I put that margin to auto, I need to be able to see what happens, and then I need to be able to hover on top of these links. So here I command and say change color on hover. So when you hover on top of those links, we should be able to see that they can change color. And how you can do this, you use the hover property like that on the links. So this means that on the links, when you hover, you should change the color. So let's just say that the color changes to brown. Reload the page. When you hover, the color changes to brown. You can try the background color, although it will distort our setup color, maybe aquamarine, but we're going to remove that because sure, I don't need that. You can see that the color changes to that. So instead, you can make it fancier by putting some padding. So padding 10 pixels. When you hover, it increases. The padding means the color around elements. So you see when you hover, the color changes to this, and even increases the. So you can see that the color has changed. So we can remain with it that way so that you know where you are at. You can style the decoration to be, maybe give it some border radius of 10 pixels. When you hover, yes, it changes to that. So these are links that are going to be clickable. So what I need to do, I need us to be able to use uniform colors. So we're going to use this particular image to be able to get our color, because this track is red and yellow, so we need to depict that color so that we can be able to have uniform colors. So what I'm going to do, there's another website that I normally use. It's called Color Picker Online. Just go to Color Picker Online. The website name is called imagecolorpicker.com. So you go to imagecolorpicker.com, you can be able to pick any color from your image. So you can say use your own image, select use your own image. You can drag and drop your image there. Let me just select where the image is. Obviously I'll go to my desktop and I look for MPS. I'll go to assets, select images, click on the logo, open it up. Once I've opened it up, it will extract all the colors that have been used. You can see the colors of the wheels. You can see the color of the back tanker, and you can see the color of the truck itself is red. So if you want this color, it's easy to get it. So just click on the color. Probably this one looks much nicer, so I can click on that color. When I scroll up, let's give it time to load. I don't know why today it has come with so many ads. So there it is. So you can get the hexadecimal colors, or you can get the RGB colors. So let's get this hexadecimal color, so that when you go to our code, we need to make things uniform. So this can be that color, and also this one can be probably the same color. And when you hover, you get the red one. So what we're going to do, the packers and movers system, you can scroll a little bit up to access the navigation, whereby we say that all the color are Alice blue, but change the Alice blue. You just paste the color that you've copied, save, go back, reload. You can see that you're getting that particular color packers and mover system, and to me it looks nice when it's in that format. You can also come and change these colors. You can decide to remain them to remain as white, but you can change the hover of the background to be probably red. So it's easy to get the color again. Just pick on this color, copy it, and then come back to your code, go to where the links are. When you're hovering, change the background color to that particular color, and then when you change that color, probably this other one should be yellow, because when you reload this page, You can see, yes, you're getting it, but you can change the color of the text to probably, let's say, yellow. So there are two types of yellow. The one we picked for this, but we can pick this particular yellow. So you go back, you can click on this one, just copy the color, come back to your code, then paste that color there. You should be able to go and when you reload the page, you should be able to see that the color changes. And this brings uniformity so that you don't have to use so many colors that don't make sense to you. I'm very sure we're going to change the background color of our program. So let's give our header some border radius. So give it the property border radius of, let's say, 10 pixels. And there's so many ways of killing a rat. Yes, this one is going to look like this. But what if you want it to be designed differently? You don't want the corners to be very sharp. You just want the top corners to be sharp, but the bottom to remain. So the top should be like that, and then the rest should be. So we're going to use the shorthand property of the border radius, 10 pixels, then 0 pixel at the bottom, and also on the left bottom 0 pixels. So when you reload the page, you should be able to see something like this. Then you can now remove the body, go back, remove the border radius of this body. You reload the page, you can see that it's now gone. So you have this. So once you have this one, I think we are done with the top navigation. So what we need to do, I can make this one to look fancier so the text can be crisscrossing. So you can go back to your HTML. There's a code called marquee that you can be able to use. So before the beginning of the H1 tag, you can just write the marquee here. Marquee is spelled as this. You close, you make sure you carry this title and put it inside this marquee so that the text will be moving to the left. So you can see that the text is moving. But now we need to be able to increase the size of our to be at the center, because now it has distorted our uniformity. So this one needs to be put in a way that it's at the center. So we can go and access these links so that this one has a margin of auto. So we have to look for the link with an ordered list. So we can just say margin top. So give it like 30 pixels so that we can bring it to the middle. I hope that pixel will work. Yes, you can see that pixels have worked. So it's in the middle, and so it brings uniformity to our project. And then we can style this to have some border, because we just want to bring in some uniqueness and creativity. So where the logo of the image is, we can now come and call border right on the logo tag image. So you access the logo, and then you say IMG, and then you tell yourself that I want to have a border right of solid 2 pixels black, not black, I mean white, or bisque. Today I'm running about new colors, a color called beige. Yeah, you can be able to see that at least it showcases where it ends to, so it doesn't look bad in a way. You can be creative in so many ways. You can even put padding so that the beige moves a little bit. So you say padding left, padding from the left side to be 10 pixels. So that it doesn't look like the car. Oh shit. the car has hit the wall, so that one cannot be done. So because it's, so we can remove that padding, remove the padding. Let's try margin left, margin left or margin right. Not there, not padding left. Let's try padding right and see if it will work. Yes, this is what I wanted, so that the car doesn't look like it has already hit the wall. So that's what we call the padding left, padding right. And then what we can be able to do, we need to showcase where the text is coming from, but there's no need of that. So I think this styling is enough in our case, and we can convert the text to be in uppercase. So say text transform uppercase. So when you come, the text come packers and movers system. Packers and movers system. You can even change the packers and mover from system to online, but let's not make ourselves complicated. So you can see we are having everything. So we can even increase the height a little bit. Let me say, where is our navigation? If you want to put height and specify, maybe you want it 60 pixels. Let's see how many 60 pixels. 60 pixels is a little bit small. $60 pixels is small. Probably 80. Yeah. So when you put height, it doesn't move. So there's a lot to be done here also. Yes, it's at the center, but when you hover, the text distort themselves. So we want to correct that so that the text won't be distorting themselves, because we wanted to avoid the image, like the whole navigation, from displacing itself. So at least you can see whatever is being displaced here. And then so we go back to the hover again. So when you hover, we can say margin from the bottom. Let's add some 10 pixels to see what will happen. Reload. Okay, it doesn't work the way we want, but still it's better than the other side. Okay, we will leave it at that point. You can remove the margin bottom. Display flex. If I try to say margin auto and reload the page, we can just work with it the way it is for now, as we think about something that can be done on that particular part. Save. You can have a comment at the bottom to, if you have your own suggestion, so that we can also improve on our interactivity. So our next move is going to be able to create the home page. So apart from the home, about, login, and the sign up, we need to add a link called services after the about, so that we can see the services being offered. You can just say services. You can be able to see that we've added more links for the services that are being provided. So we need to be able to continue with our project at the bottom. So let's create a home page. We are done with designing the top navigation. So we go back to our HTML. Now we continue with the syntax. So the next step is going to be the home section, and this is going to depict the end of home section. So our home section is going to start with our period, and then we can just call it home. So our home, we need to give it a background image, a huge background image of a truck. That's what I wanted it to do. And first of all, and then some little information about the home, and yeah, so we need to give it some div section that will be on the left side, stating about what you guys, like what the packers and movers do, or introducing like a welcome message. So we can just say, sorry, it's supposed to be I was supposed to write welcome message, and inside this welcome message we're going to have a title. So we can give it a smaller title of let's say welcome visitor, and then some paragraph of, you know, here you can solve all your transportation issues. You can write anything you want by requesting for a quota, or rather a service, So you want to see how this one is going to look like. You reload the page, you can see that you have a welcome visitor message. We can give it a height when you go to style it. So the home, go, then we start our next journey of styling. So you can say home section, end of home section, then call that particular home class. We need to state, first of all, we start with border, because it's always important to know where you are at. And today you can even give it a different color, because it can still be seen behind the cadet blue. So solid 2 pixels. Save, reload the page. We need to see where we are at. So you can see that that's where we are, and the informative, you can opt to make sure that you have the space, but I don't want to put the space because I'm putting the border radius at the bottom, and I'm at the top of at the top left and the top right, but I haven't put the border radius at the top, at the bottom left and the bottom right. So I can opt to leave it at that point, and I can see the color is really blending in well with whatever I want to achieve with this project, because I've already shown you how you can be able to get like specific colors for your project on these particular websites. So I can decide to have it this way, and I can increase the size, the height. So instead of saying the height itself, I want to say minimum height, so that it doesn't pass below that particular height. So always to have a minimum height of 400 pixels. Some people use maximum height, but I want to use minimum height, meaning that this is the minimum height of our home page. It cannot go below this particular minimum height that I've set. So that's going to be our minimum height. So minimum height of 400 pixels. Then I can include some padding so that I can get some space around elements. Padding of, let's say, 20 pixels. Let's just see how it looks like. Yes, that's how our padding is going to look like. And again, I want to put some background image of how our homepage is going to look like. So I'm going to look for a fancy image to download. So I can go to Pixabay, because I know they have, now I don't want to put an icon, I want an image. So Pixabay, then we go and look for a good track, because we are working with the movers and packers system. So I look for a track. that looks like it's going to be able to transport goods from one location to another. All the types of trucks I'm getting are very funny lookings. So I'm trying to see if I can get a very nice background image of our truck. Bostrand. This is a little bit bigger. I want something, what's the word? Consumable. I don't know if it's the right word. If I don't get it here, let me go to pixels. Or maybe I can just search lorry. Let me see if I can get some lorries. Still the same pictures. Instead, let me go to what I call pexels.com. Then let me type truck and see if they have whatever I want. Maybe they might be a little bit friendly with the pictures they have. Yeah, at least this one has some that I can get to use. Let me see if I can get more options to choose from. So I'm trying to find a good truck that I can get to use. I don't know which one is available for me, but movers and truckers. You want to mean there are no good truck driver, trucking, transport. Let me see transport. Or delivery, yes. Or you can even put a road. So we need to get a very nice picture for ourselves. I need a background image that is looking good. You can always get to choose whichever image you feel that it's nice for you. Okay, delivery or transportation or shipping. Let's check the delivery photos. I think I found we don't even need an image per se. Can get this one. You can see we are getting where we want to be. So I've already seen one image. I'll get this one. So I'll download it. It's for free. And once I've downloaded it, I should be able to transport it to my assets in a folder name called images. So I don't want to open it, but I can get to use it. Just go to your downloads. Rename it first because this name is huge to remember. Rename it to van because it's a van. So I had already had another one, so I can just cut this one, go to my desktop, navigate to MPS, check my assets, images, then paste it there. This is a GPG file, so change the name from 2 to 1, so rename again, so it's called a van. Enter. We go back to our code. We need to be able to put this van as our background image. So you go to your CSS, it's at the home page, at the home tag class name, you just say background, and I'll put some linear gradient. So first, I want to show you how you can put a background, and then you want to access the image. So you just write the URL. So URL will be able to map to a folder name called assets / images / then access1.jpg. We need to see if it has come. I know it's going to be huge. Did I write it correctly? Assets. Oh, we need to get out of assets because it's not assets, it's images. So we need to get out of the style and then access images. So we need to map to the parent. So there it is, but it's not being seen properly. So the reason why I'm putting .. is because I'm trying to access the current directory that I am in. So when I put .. it means in the current directory that I'm in, go to the root directory, which is the assets, and then access the folder name called images and access 1.jpg. So the current directory that we are in is called style.css. So when I say .. it means from the current directory to the root directory. The / stands for the root directory. Then you can be able to access this folder name called images, and you can access the JPG. So if I put the background like that with the URL, and the image is not shown the way we want because we can only see the sky. So you come and say background size. You can say background size cover, but when you put cover, it's not going to be the way we want, but just check. When you put it's still not the way we want it. So what we do, you say background cover, it covers 100% by 100%. There you can be able to see the full image without it being distorted. You can be able to see, but the problem is that it has stretched a little bit. I don't know object fit works, how it works, but we can increase the height or reduce the padding. Probably let's try to remove the padding first to see. It might be the padding causing it to stretch. No, it's not the padding. So return the padding. You can increase the height to 500 pixels, probably because the image size is that. Yeah, so you see the image comes to the way it needs to be. So you can see that we have the home with the, so we can have it like this, and then we can maybe put some linear gradients behind, but we're going to make this one more fancier than you can imagine because we need it to depict a website, a web application of our project very nicely. So we can still have it like that. I feel like I should put 450. Let me see how 450 looks like. Still a little bit stretched though, but I think we can work with that. So I want this welcome message to be visible, and the only way I can do that is, first of all, I come and check the welcome message. This is what I want to style. I'll put some linear gradient so that we can have a background. Putting a linear gradient to our design, to our welcome message section. So dot welcome message, yeah, there. So what I'm going to say, just say background again, linear gradient to the left, or to the left side, then put a comma. Then we're going to use the RGBA. For RGBA stands for the red, green, blue, and the A stands for the alpha, which will give us like the opacity. So, and then you say 0, 0, 0, and maybe you give it like the opacity gradient 0.5, and then the percentage should be equal from the left to the from the right to the left. Then put comma, again RGBA, then 0, 0, 0, 0.5, 50 pixels, 50%. Save, go back and reload. You can be able to see that yes, we have that particular gradient, which is now bringing in what we need, but we need to put some padding of around, let's say, 20 pixels again, and then we need to change the color of the text to white or Alice blue. Then you go back and reload the page. You can be able to see that it's coming in properly the way we need it to be. Welcome visitor. Here you can solve all your transportation issues by requesting for a quota or rather a service. So let me make it more fancy. I can just say border radius of, let's say, 20 pixels. I want to see where it ends to. Yeah, so we can have it like that. If you want, you can just send it to the middle, but if you don't want, you can just leave it at that point. So we have our home page. We want to make everything simple, and then I need to style the header text transform to uppercase, so I know it's H2. Then I say text transform, then I say uppercase. Reload the page. Welcome visitor. There you go. Now the next step is going to be creating our footer section before we now proceed to creating the services and everything else. So we're going to create our footer section of our project, because the most important will be the services, the login and the sign up, and probably the about. The about will remove because the about is going to be at the footer section. So let's create our footer section. Let's go back to our index.html, saying this is going to be footer section. Footer section. Footer. The footer section is going to have a contact us, about us. Yes. How am I putting the syntax for here? I should say dot footer and then click enter. I don't know why I did put the parentheses. And then here we're going to have about. So this is going to be about. Then you can have some title, maybe the H2, and then about us, and then some paragraph. We say we deliver packages, package request from our clients to the desired location. The spelling for location is not like that. We deliver package requests from our clients to the desired location. And then you can add more and say we offer variety of services from home relocation to office and home furniture delivery You can add more paragraphs that you need. Our team is of professional members that handle items with care and protect delicate items. Yes, so that's going to be our about section. Comment here, say about, and end of our about, end of about. Right. So once you're done with that, you come and create a contact us. Then this is going to be end of contact us. Then you can have a section for the contact us. Just say contact. We can create a form that can be used, and this form can have inputs. So you can have several inputs. Type text. Instead, we're not going to use label, but you can use placeholder. Then you can say username. So someone to insert their username. And also we can have what we call another input type of email. So this is going to be for the emails, where someone can input their email. And then you can have a placeholder. Maybe you can say example at gmail.com. Example at gmail.com. You can end that there. Then you can have a place for the message or contact mobile phone, where you can be able to be reached just in case the email doesn't go through. Type, you can say maybe text, then placeholder can be maybe +254 if the code number is for Kenya, +254, then the number 7, then you can just put XXX 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and another one XXX, like that. And then you can have a place for the messaging. You can use what we call the text area. You can put what we call rows to be, let's say 5. You close the text area like that. Then you can have a button for the submission. You can have a submit button. You can use the input, or you can just use the button. Input, type, submit, then value, because it's a button, so you need to state that it's a button. Value, you say send. You can end it like that. If you view, you can find it a little bit quirky. So there it is. So we need to be able to style this particular section so that we can have it all good and good to go. So once we are done with this, let's go and style it. So we style the footer section. Scroll down. Now you begin styling the footer. It doesn't matter if it's capital. End of styling the footer. Now we are calling the footer to be styled. Let's give it a background color of black, totally black. Or we can change the background color to adapt to the color that has already been offered, because we don't want to be conspicuous with our colors. We can even use the colors that are the uniform. Let me see. Let's have a look at our website and see if we can come up with good and creative colors. And I think what we can be able to do, instead of using the same black color like on the top navigation, can use something else. So you come, let me see which color. I can see like a yellow, rather is gold, is blending in very well with it. So I know we're going to use the same color, so the background color is going to be out. Instead, we're going to put a border color. Maybe we use this one. We forgot to put something called thickness, and is it solid? There you go, we have it. So we can separate it from the home by saying margin top to be 20 pixels. You reload, there you go. You can put the border radius at the bottom, border radius. So at the top left is 0 pixel, the other side 0 pixel too, but the bottom should be 10 pixels and 10 pixels. There you go. And then it needs to be display of flex, so that the items that are inside, they reside from the left. Yes. And then we need to put some margin bottom. So if margin top, so we can use a shorthand property, so that margin top and margin bottom are 20 pixels, but margin left and margin right are 0 pixel, remain the same. So that when you're scrolling, you can see there's some spacing in between. And then the color should not be red. I think I should just stick to our yellow color. So here, instead, let me just remove this one. I want to remain with that color, 2 pixels, solid. Save, reload the page. There you go. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. Things are just going to turn around for us very well. So we have the about us. So let's put some padding in between. Padding, 20 pixels is okay. Reload the page. Nice. So we need now to style our form so that we can have a very good looking and fancy form. The about us need to have some section, like separation. So I can put what we call the horizontal line here. Let me see if it's going to come out. Yes, it came out the way I wanted it. Nice. So the about us, we need to be creative in a simplest way possible. Now we have the about us. Now we need to style the contact us or reach on us. Just copy this the way it is, come and paste it here, and then say talk to us. Talk to us. Come, reload the page. There you go. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to style this very well so that they don't appear like they are in one line, because we need to put some separation in between them. So we now start styling the children inside the footer section. So we go back to our style.css. Let's see, did I give the... Yes, I gave them. So we style the about. First we start with the about. So dot about. Border. Let's put that one. Solid 2 pixel. Reload the page. There you go. But now these colors are becoming too bright. But I just wanted to see where I am at. So I want to slightly move away from the left. So margin left, margin right, margin right 20 pixels. Let's see. Great. Again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remain with the border right instead. Just want one side there, but that color is shining like it's affecting my eyes, but you can still have it the way it is because we're just trying to be creative. Another thing, I want to remove this one. I say border 2 pixels solid. So I want to remove the border top. I can just come and say border top 0 pixels. There you go. Okay, let's now continue. We're just being creative. Now we want to style the form also, but I also have an idea. We will need to style the form. So our index file, when you check the contacts, so let's go and style the contact first. Say contact, and the contact is going to look like this. So we set up the contact. Let's put that border so that we can see where we are at. Solid, the color is going to be this one. Pixels. There you go. Obviously that's not the way not how we want it. We're going to change that soon. Now we're styling the contact, but we need to style the form. So just copy that, then you access the form element, then you say display flex, yes, but the flex direction is going to be column so that it goes down in column format. There you go. That's how we want it. Then we increase the width of the form. So width of the form should be like 400 pixels. Let's see what we're getting. There you go. But then again, we need to justify this content. So justify the content space between the two. So one is starting from the left side and the other one is starting from the right side. There you go. We're still trying to figure out how we're going to get this one done very nicely. I have a feeling I'll add something in the middle because we have space. So like reach our email, blah blah blah. So what you can do, you can say social handles, end of social handles, and then we check, we say social handles. There you go. Inside the social handles, we can have now icons. Maybe this is our Facebook page. Yes. So we'll use the unordered list, and then we can use the listing. Oh, they are going to be clickable links. So you use the a tag, href, close, and then now you put the listing tag. And the listing tag are going to have the image. So we're going to download some icons. We're going to have some source, and then you're going to close that. And then you can say maybe Instagram, mobile, number can be 0 plus 2547465, just a dummy number. Email, movers and packers system at gmail.com, for example, gmail.com. You can have WhatsApp us, WhatsApp. You can have maybe YouTube. So we'll just get all these icons. This is just like to showcase what we're going to have. Maybe Facebook and LinkedIn. Let's have all of them. LinkedIn. Great. So we need to go and download these icons. First, let's see how it is in the middle. Okay, so we need to decorate all this and have it to look more nice. So first, let's finish up with the form before we come to the social handles. The contact form. So the contact form, we've already given it the width. Here, you can say border left. So the contact form, we need to style the inputs. Input, give it some padding of the input. Let's say 10 pixels first. Reload the page. That's what you get. We need to put some padding because we need to show some spacing in between. And then I forgot to put something on the index.html. So go back. We need to be uniform. So the social handles, our social handles, just say that. Our social handles. Come back, reload. There you go. We're getting there. Creativity is within us. We're getting there. Our social handles. This is going to be our footer. We need to style it even much more in a fancy way. Go back to your form, contact, give it some padding. Think padding from the left to be a little bit 10 pixels. We need to show some spacing. Creativity is for us. So as you can see, with these just few settings, we are coming up with something nice. Maybe I should increase it to 20. There you go. So I want to check. I think I'll increase the width of this, particularly in the middle later on. Just like, let me give it time to process what I need to add. So you can see we have a place for username, the email, the mobile number, and a place for message. You can write your message here. Section placeholder. I'll know what I'll put here so that it can look more friendly for us. So let me put some gap in between the form. Gap 10 pixels. Should be able to see some spacing. Yes, so there's some spacing in between. Then you can style our button. Now this one is when I'll give it a red color. I've been looking forward to use that red color for a very long time. So let me first of all go and give my button some class name. so that you can style it using the class name. Class equals to submit button, submit hyphen btn, like that, so that I can now call this submit button dot. Let me see if it will work without putting, because this is an input, sometimes it refuses. Submit button, background color. Now this is the color I want. Color of the text should be just white or at least blue. There, let's see. There you go. We have it the way we want it. And then it can remain huge like that. Then maybe I can just put some border radius of 30 pixels, and then cursor to be pointer, so that when you move, the cursor is pointer. It's a pointer pointing to it. Reload the page, and there you go. Also, when you hover, you should be able to change color, maybe now to our yellow color. When you hover on top of this and you want to send. We go back here and then copy this submit button at the bottom, write that colon, then write hover, so that when you hover on top, you can be able to change color. And then you say background color to this color, between the two, that one. Then color of the text should just be black. Let's go and check. There you go. So when you hover, it changes the color. So we want to style our social handles. Social handles, we're going to have some images. So we need to go and download some images. And I think flaticon.com is going to help us do that, so that we can achieve something. Also want to put some spacing in between the about us, so that we have uniformity. The about. So I can say padding from the right, then to be 20 pixels. Go back, reload, there you go. We need to style our social handles now, so that it looks nicer. Also, this I should change them to white, color of the text. If I say color, Alice blue, I can be able to see that all the color of the text changes to that, which is also nice, because we need the color to be like that. Same applies to contact. Let's have a look. Let's not be having dark everywhere. So we need to look for some icons for our social handles. So social handles, they just style them from here. So I never commented this one, so I say this is about, and then the end of about. And then you have the social handle will be here. And then the end of social handles. So dot social handles. Give it the color with Alice blue, so that when you go and reload the page, you get it. We are getting there. We're getting what we want, where we want it. I need to put some background color on the about. So I'll just go and copy this one the way it is, come at the footer, paste it, reload. Let's see how it looks like. Zoop, there you go. Nice. Being creative is so good. So you can see we're getting somewhere. Apparently I feel like I should go back to the home page and do some spacing at the top here, and then I say margin top just 10 pixels to give it some spacing from the top. There you go. Nice. So when you scroll down, we should now be able to style. Now you see when I come up with the red that was shouting, now it's a little bit presentable. I don't know if presentable is the right word, but no, not presentable. You can clearly see it without disturbing your eyes. Yes. So let's go and find solution for this. First of all, let's remove the links the way they look like. They look bad. So we come to the social handles. This one is going to be contact, and then the end of contact somewhere. So we're going to continue and style our social handles very well. This is the place. Dot social handles, an ordered list. Let's put some border to see where we are at. Solid 2 pixels. Reload the page. Oops, forgot something. The period, they were like 2. So now we know where we are. We proceed. Let's leave it at that place for now. We remove the text decoration. So we say text decoration to none. Color of the text should be white or Alice blue, at least. There you go. We also have to put some gap. I don't know if gap works on its own without the display, if it's grid or pixel. Nope. We need to set here. We say actually it wasn't there. This is where I was supposed to put it. So we need to give it some display flex, and the flex direction is column. So you should be able to see that exactly. Nice. So we go and remove the list style type to be none, so that we can be able to add our icons instead. So copy this, we remove the list style type to none. So the listing, and then you come and say list style type, give it none. So we shouldn't have any, but I have a trick. All right. So I wanted when you hover on top, the links should be able to, move. But I want to underline with my own way of underlining. So border bottom. Now, which color am I using? Yes, this one. Solid 2 pixels. Yep. Then I can remove. Yes. Then now I can remove this one. But first of all, let me check. Comment out this. Just reload the page. We need to see how it looks like. There you go. So let's go and find the icons. Also, when you hover, you should be able to see something changing, so that you can know you're hovering on top of these links, because they are going to be clickable. I feel like I should give them 1 pixels instead of 2. Let's go and look for icons now. Yes, there are some faint icons, not icons. So let's go back to our flat icons. So we start with Instagram. Just search Instagram. You should be able to get variety of Instagram to choose from. It's loading slowly, but we're going to get it. So we have several icons to choose from. I'll download this one, free. Nice. So that's Instagram. I had already downloaded it before. It doesn't matter. Let's check WhatsApp. Let's just download all of them at once. So let's get our WhatsApp icon. I think I'm going to pick this one. We also get the LinkedIn. Where are you, LinkedIn? So LinkedIn, we can get something nicer for our LinkedIn. I think I'm going to get this one, the circular one. Download. Also, we had the email. We get this one. Download. We already downloaded the WhatsApp, LinkedIn, email, Facebook. So we get the Facebook and the mobile or the telephone. Let me get this one. The last one is going to be telephone, I guess. Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, and telephone. Yes. So you get YouTube and telephone. YouTube. And you guys can subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can be getting updates. And remember that this is going to be a series for the entire of the project. So we're just beginning. And this is the first step, or what we call the genesis. The genesis of our trackers and not trackers and movers and packers system. So let's get a YouTube icon. This one can work. And then we have the telephone or the mobile. Let's get this one, the old model. All right, now we have all these icons. We need to go and get them, and probably I should create another folder name called icons inside images. Call this folder name icons, so that I can now be able to move all those icons inside the folder. So go to your downloads, select YouTube, call, Facebook, Gmail, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and Instagram. Cut them up, go to your desktop, scroll down. MPS, here you go. The assets, the CSS, not the CSS, but the images and then the icons, then paste them, rename the Instagram to just Instagram, and all of them are PNG. We have the call. You have two Instagrams. Share. Control V. Skip. So this is renamed to just Instagram. LinkedIn to just LinkedIn. For me, I'm renaming. For you, you don't have this. Maybe you're downloading for the first time. Because I had downloaded it previously, so I just need them to be easy for me to locate. So I know I have call, Facebook, Gmail, Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, YouTube. Okay, so I go back to my code, index.html, go back to my source. So here I say assets. There you go. Click on this, click on images, not there, but on images, icons, Instagram. Probably I should give this one width to be 20 pixels, also height to be 20 pixels, so that now I can replicate this. Just copy the whole of this one, be replacing from the source, paste. For YouTube, paste. So the attributes, so that we cannot distort the images and lose our design goal. Paste. So the Instagram, the other one is going to be for WhatsApp. So just write WhatsApp, pick that one. That one is going to be for YouTube. What's wrong with my touchpad? Okay. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, LinkedIn, call, and then the Gmail. Now let's see how it looks like on our browser. Boop, and there you go. So this means we have our Instagram. Let's put some spacing in between. I don't know if the underline makes sense, because they don't. So I feel like I should remove them. Just comment out. Then we need to put some spacing in between. So I'm going to style the image. So copy this, paste it here, IMG, and then margin right 20 pixels. There you go. So if I have margin right 20 pixels like that, I should be able to hover on top of these icons and see an effect of them all. Oops, why am I opening IntelliJ now? So let's hover. Hover. Now when I hover, I want this border, I can just copy it to be there, but now this time is going to be dotted instead. Let's see. Okay, let me increase the thickness to 2. There you go. So at least you know you're hovering on top of some link. Nice. You can even change the color of the text to match. color. Let it be like that. So right now you know you're hovering on top. So we are done with the footer. The talk to us is also done. Now what we need to see if we can be able to design the about us. The about us can remain as it is. We are done with also that part. Let's now review it. Welcome visitor. Here you can solve all your transportation issues by requesting for a quota or rather a service. I should put a button to click to go to services. So go back to index.html. We need to put a button, a clickable one. So this is going to be a button, href, and then you say check available services, check, or just write available services. And then it needs to be a button, so we need to style it. So give it a class name, call it available services. We go and style it. Copy, go to style.css, welcome message, there you go. Padding 20 pixels, border radius 20 pixels, background color golden, color of the text, give it black, save, reload the page. Oops, that's too huge. Text decoration none. None. The padding should be 10 pixel. Then we can move it margin top 10 pixels. Let's check. There you go. Nice. We are starting to come where we need it to be. So you can now also hover on top of that button. Let me test something. If I put it, I don't know if it's going to happen. I didn't want to put a break, but I wanted to put a horizontal line. Horizontal line. There you go. And then I also need to, if I put the horizontal line, then I should put a break after the horizontal line. There you go. Nice. Now let's put some hover on the button. Where is it? Available services. So when you hover, you should just change the background color to maybe transparent. In fact, it should be the other way around. And then this one now should be transparent. And bring the background of this part there. I don't know how it's going to look like, because I've been thinking this was when you hover around, save it, then this one is going to be white. Let's go and check. Put some border. Come on, solid 2 pixels. I hope I'm not destroying my design. There you go. Not that bad. Okay. Now we are good to go. I think we are done with our home page. The next thing we're going to be doing is designing a few pages, like the login page, sign up, and the requesting service. You can see that we had to use uniform colors, so we have not used colors that do not align with our needs. But I think at the bottom of our talk to us form, I need to see that that color is a bit, the red color doesn't come out clearly the way I want it to. So I think I should just put some transparency like the way I've done here, so that maybe the background when you hover is when it changes, just like what we were doing here. I'm still going to solve that problem here as we progress to go by. The goal is to come up with something presentable. So let's check the index.html, the submit button is what we are looking for. Social handles, submit background. So this background here, I should replace it. Then the border, first let's check it, though it is nice. All right, there you go. Maybe I can give it some border. Border color, the same, 2 pixel solid. Let's check. Nice, there you go. And then when I come here, I should change to which color? Even that one is okay. As long as you know you're hovering on top and it's changing, it's fine. You can decide to put whichever color you like for yourself. So we are done with the home page. This is our landing page. I think we've nailed it the way we wanted to. So we can proceed with our next chapter of building the login and the sign up page, because it's much simpler and very fast, quick to design. Let me put a pause to my recording session. Now, having completed our home page, we should now be able to go and create the service section, services, so that you can showcase all the type of services you're going to be having from the movers and packers system. So we're going to do a little bit of we're going to adjust our links so that we can get rid of the about, because we already have the about at the footer section. So what we need to do, we need to be able to have a section for home, a section for service, and a section for requests rather than about, because a section for requests will allow the clients to be able to request for a particular service from the movers and packers system. So let's go and do the adjustment from our code. So just go back and here instead we're going to have, this one is going to be request and this one is going to be services. We need to be able to create a service file so that you can be able to navigate to that particular. So this one is going to be index.html when you click on it, and then you're going to have services.html. Then we're going to have requests.html. Later on we'll add all these files. We're going to have login.html, and we're going to have signup.html. So we start with services. So we need to be able to create a service. So you go back to your root folder, click on new file. You can paste or write the service.html with .html extension. We're going to have a little of duplication of codes here. When you look at the code, we're still going to have the same header because of the links, and we're still going to have the same footer. So what's going to change is whatever we're having here at the welcome visitor at the homepage, instead we're going to showcase our services that are being offered. So it's much simpler, and to make our work easier, we're just going to copy and paste and remove the section that we do not need. So if you copy this, the whole of this file, you put it inside service.php, you can save, and then we remove the home section. You see the benefit of making comments is because it helps you to know which part you are at. So we don't need this part anymore. So instead we'll create a service section here at this particular point. So this is going to be our service section, and then the end of service section too. So we can just create a div block saying list of available services. So put a period, write services, click enter, and then let's just put a hello header saying hello, welcome to service. We're going to remove that because we just want to see that the links are working properly. So you should reload the page, and when you click on services, you should be taken to this hello, welcome to service. So what we're going to do, we're going to include a section for services so that you can be able to see services that are provided. When we're creating the dashboard, we'll be able to create a section whereby you can add new service, you can delete service, you can edit service. We're doing what we call CRUD. CRUD is a name that stands for create, update, delete, and view. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to create like some part of cards so that you can be able to see all the available services. So we get this one, we can just remain with it, and then say the header is called services. Or you can say our services. Once you have that header, you can create a place for the card section. But before you create that place for the card section, we need to create a search, because when you have a lot of a huge number of services and a huge list, you can be able to search from the list of services that are available. So you should be able to create a form. You create a form, then this will have a name called search form. Inside search form, we need to have an input field and a button. So we can have an input field and the button. Type of text, placeholder, search for a service. You can close that. Let's have a button that is clickable. We can have a button with an image or an icon. So we can go to our website and search for one button. So this button is going to be button. And then you can put an image with source of the URL where it's being located from. You can have an alternative. Then you can close the image inside the button. I think I'll close it somewhere wrong. There you go. So instead of writing like a search, you just have an icon that showcases that this is going to be a search area. So let me just say search section, end of search section, end of search section. After the end of search section, now we need to have a place for the cards. So this is going to be service cards, then end of service cards, inside the service cards we create can just call it service section, service card section, so that we can now be having cards. So we can have our first card here, first card, end of first card, end of first card. So we're going to say this is going to be called service card. Inside service card, we can have a place for the image and a place for the description, and it should be clickable. So we should make it a link instead. I don't know why I forgot, because if it's a link, instead of having a div section, just say it's a service card like that. Then you put href so that you can be able to click and view the service card information itself. We'll put that later. Maybe you can say service description .html. Under the service card, now we can have a place for image. So we just put an image tag. We'll get the image from the internet. Alternative service, close the image. Then you can have a place for description, like a paragraph, or you can have a div block section. Just call it service description. So when you have this, you don't need a button because it's a clickable link by itself. So you don't need a button to do this. Then you can just put a paragraph. We can just say some title. Sorry, we can first of all have a title. Maybe you can have a H3, not in caps. This can be, for example, because we are dealing with movers and packers, you can just say car transport. That's like our first service. Then you can have a paragraph explaining what it does. So with car transport, you can be able to drive yourself to the destination. Let's just put something like that. So let's have that one. You can reload the page and you can see now we have something like this. So we need to be able to design this page to look more presentable and the cards also to look more presentable. So what you're going to do, let's go and design this. So we already have the service card section. So we start with the services. So we have to check where the services are. So we're just going to be using the same file. So we say services and end of services. Okay, so let's proceed. As always, we need to put some border solid so that we can see where we are. We need to only operate within the services section. So solid 2 pixels, can get to view, reload the page, you see where we are at. Can put some margin top so that it can separate itself from the top. Margin top 10px, and in fact this is supposed to be a different color like yellow. We are already used to that, but let's continue with this one. So our services, let's put some padding so that we can have space around elements. Padding 10 pixels. You can get to see that we have some spacing. Then we need to put of display of type flex, but we don't want it in a raw format because as this is the parent and the children that are in, we have the header or rather the title, we have the form, and we have the service card section. So we need them to be displayed in column format. Let me close this one. We still want them to be displayed in column format, so we just say display flex, flex direction, column. Let's first of all view. Yes, nothing changes because by default it was column, but we can put some gap because gap cannot work without put without the flex direction or the flex itself. So gap of 20px. Let's see how that one looks like. So we have that. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to style the header. So we want the header to be at the center. So you say services, you access the header was h3, then you can say margin auto. So by automatically it goes to the center because it will calculate. Yes, so it goes at the center. Same applies to the form. So we can say search form. So because we have put the margin, so just put a comma, and then you say search form dot search form, so that it applies to both of them. Search form. There you go. So it's at the center. Now we need to be able to get an icon for our button, and we need to also style this one. So we'll make it a little bit huge. We'll enlarge it, paste it. So we say width is going to be, let's say, 400 pixels. Padding is going to be 10 pixels. Think I misspelled something. So if it's a search form, so the width doesn't come out the way we want. Let's try 100%. Oof, what is happening? Let's try this, 700 pixels. We need to see the width increasing. So instead of increasing the width, oh, I understand why. It's not the search form we are looking for, it's the input. So we have to put input here. It should now be able to reflect. Yes, this is what I meant. So we don't have that link yet, so it's clickable. But we don't have the link yet. So we have our search, and then we need to get a button. So we go and get an icon for ourselves. So we need a search icon. So we just say search. So we need a search icon. So we can get this colorful one or this one. So let's get this one, download it, free download. So then we can just check in our folder, cut it, locate where the desktop is, then go to the MPS, assets, icons, images, icons, paste it there. So it's called search.png. So you should go back to your services.html, locate where the image is. So just say assets, images, icons, search.png. Let's give it some width of 20 pixels and some height too of the same for uniformity. So let's just check how it is, and there we go, we have it there. So we can always increase the size so that it doesn't look too small. Let's try with 50 pixels. That's too huge, and that's not exactly what we want. So 30, we also need to put it at the center. So we can try the button. Let's put, so the button will be like that, but we need to be able to design it properly so that it doesn't distort itself. So we can style the input. You can say margin from the bottom to be a little bit of 10 pixels so that they can all align on the same line. I think it's the top. Nope. Let's check what we need to be styling. So it's the button that we want to style. So I call this the button. Let's try it with the height, 40 pixels. Nothing changes. I want them to be on the same line, so we want to figure out what is needed. It doesn't move the way we want. Since it's the search form, let's do this. Display flex, and then we get rid of that. Save. Yes, it should be able to be on the same line. This is what we wanted to achieve. So there we go. We are good to go now. We can as well put some corners on the input, and the corners are achieved with the border radius 10 pixels, or on one side. Actually, yes, I don't think the corners are applicable here, so we get rid of them. Right, so we go back. Now we need to design our card section so that we can have it looking more fancier, and then the color of our text should always depict something different. You can have it our services or white. So let's go to our next section, that is styling the service card section. Service card section. So you come back to the services, let's put some border to see where we are at. Solid 2 pixels. And that's where we are. So some padding also, so that can have some spacing, like 10 pixels. Okay, so what we need to do, we can only have maybe border top, so that we can see the difference instead of putting yes, and then we can change the color of the border top to our likable color. We don't want to overuse the colors too. So we need to put the cards properly. So let's design the cards. The service card. So the service card is more of our concern. We design the service card. Let's try with some border first to see where we are at. 2 pixels, black, solid. Right. And okay, something funny has happened. Let's check. Is it because of the div? service card section. Let me try this one, padding 20px. Something funny is happening. Display flex, flex direction column. Let's have a look at it. Okay, it's working now properly. We need to give it some width because we will be having several cards here. So this is just the first service card transport, and I think there's something, I don't know where the name service is coming from. Alternative service is because we don't have an image, so we need to have an image, but first of all we need to have its width. So we need to regulate the width. We want it maybe up to this point so that it doesn't look bad. So we need to design that card properly. So let's give it width of 300 pixels or 400. Let's first start with 300 to see up to where. Okay, that's a good size. So we need to also get what? Design the service description. So the service description, we can also get it border so that we'll see what we have, and the display to be flex and the flex direction to be column. Just copy and paste because we're just repeating. Then it's going to be border top only. So this is how it's going to look like. That's how it's going to look like. And then everything should be centered or justified inside the service description. So just copy this, and then everything inside should be margin auto, so centered. Okay, there you go. Probably and then the service card itself, say text decoration none to none. You can just get to view. Okay, then you need to change the color of the text. Maybe Alice blue works better. There you go. And we need now to get an image so that we can put inside our cards. And for uniformity, I'm going to change the color of our border from red to the other color. Then we need to also go get an image. Yes, I think this one is a uniform color that comes out well for me. So we get an image of maybe car, if it's car transport. So from our Pixar, the Pixabay, let's see what Pixabay have for us. Let's search car. We need a good image. I like vintage, so we shall get one of the vintage vehicles. You can download an image you are in love with, or you think it suits you well. Even this one. There's a car called Corvair. Is it this one? Corvair. I'll pick this one, free download. Download the image. I'm not a robot. Bicycles, can see bicycle here, can see another one here, can see another one here, can see another one here. Then I can verify myself. Then I can be able to download. So once I've downloaded the image, I should go to the folder, show into folder, just rename it, then call it car, cut it, bring it to your desktop, look for MPS. There you go. Inside assets, inside images, just paste it there, car. When you should go back to your code, services.html, put the URL, assets, images, car. We should be able to get the size of the image well, but now let's just see. So you have our car there, car transport, and some information, and it's clickable, so we need not to worry. So the service card, we did put the width, yes, but you can imagine the service card and the image, we need to inherit the width so that they are uniform. So image, then you say width, inherit. So it inherit the width from the parent, which is 300 pixels. Right now you won't notice, but it does inherit. And then we realize that we need to get some spacing. So where the service card, we put some gapping. Put some gap of, let's say, 20px. Should be able to see something like this. Same applies to service description. Put some gap. You should be able to see something like that. And yeah, that's all. So we need to get more services. So we'll just duplicate this one with images, so that later on when you're doing the backend, it will be dynamic and interactive. So things will be updated from the backend side, the images. So let's get an image of a different dimension and see. Probably this one is adapting very well because it's of that size, but you can imagine if you have a different image that is huge than this one, so it means that you have to style it properly. So we have the car transport. Also, since it's the service card, when we have lots of them, so we need to make this one scrollable, the services. So the services, where it is, you can find with the search pub here. So we say when there's an overflow, then we can say scroll, and it's overflow what? Overflow Y only, because we don't want an overflow X, because we're going to do what we call flex flow. This flex flow wrap, wrap, so that when you have many items or many services, when it reaches the end, it automatically goes to the next line. We can do that by duplicating this one and seeing it in practice. So let's just go back here. These are the first card. From here, copy it, and then we paste it. So we have another one. We just say this is the second card and end of second card. First of all, let's see what happens when you have this. I hope. Okay, so we need to access our service card section, and put display of row. So display flex, and then you can put some gap, 10 pixels, and then you can now view. So we now have them aligning on the row. So let's add another one and see what happens. So that was second card. This is the third card. This is the third card. Let's add another one and see what happens. The fourth card. There you go. Now we need to make sure that it's not scrollable instead, or if you want it can be scrollable instead, but this is going to distort our idea. So we need to go and look for this particular flex flow. I think I had put it in the wrong place, not supposed to be there. Cut it from there, come to where the service cards are, service card section. This is where it's supposed to be. So when it reaches the end and it doesn't fit, it should automatically go to the next line. This is what I meant. Automatically go to the next line. So we don't even need to have the scrollable X, Y, because we already have the scroll. So on the services, remove this, just comment it out to remind you that it would have been different. Now we have that, so we need to make it a little bit more uniform. So we need to make it to be at the center, and when you check what we need to make it at the center in the service card section, we have to check where the service card section is. Even if you say that this is going to be margin auto, because we already have display flex at the services, doesn't work. So this is going to be margin from the left side to be something like 100 pixels or 38 pixels. 100 pixels is a lot, not that much. Goes at the center, although not the way I wanted it. So I need to go and change something. This border top, instead I'll look where the form is, a search form. So I need the search form alone. So dot search form, then I do this, then I do that. Instead this one should be bottom. Save, go back, reload. Nah, not the way I want it. Instead you can remove this one, go back to services, you can put a horizontal. But it's not visible. It's there but not visible. There's so many ways of killing a rat. Let's figure out, because we are distorting something. Let's first of all just work with this one the way it is. So as you can see, we can add extra and extra and extra. So let's add like 2 more cards and see what we have. So this is going to be 5th, 5th, and the 6th one. Sixth, save, reload. There you go. So you can see there's some uniform idea of what we want to achieve. So what you can do, let's try to change images, and we're going to have several services. So the height, I want to try a new image. So we have car transport. We're going to have house furniture as one of the service, office things, packers and movers, and any other that we can be able to add. So let's add the first three at the top. Car transport, we can say house furniture, house furniture. We can have office things, office things. Can it be even animals? You can want to transport animals, cargo. You have so many ideas that you can be able to do with the movers and transport system. Packers and movers. So packers and movers is where it applies for people who want to relocate to different areas. So they need people who can be able to move their items or house furniture to a different area. So we can have what we call maybe cargo. Let's just try to be spontaneous. Obviously we're not going to be needing all this, but I'm just putting it for, yeah, there's cargo, there's animal, for example, or farm products, whereby you need a pickup instead. Farm products, just reload, you have it there. So let's try to change the image. The first one is car transport. Now let's look for a house furniture. So house furniture can be transported using a truck. Let's see if you can get a truck. There are many images we can just get to choose from. I think we have cargo here. So we can download this image for the cargo. Just say download. Then this one you can put at the cargo. I'm not a robot. Taxis 1, 2, 3. Verify. Download. So let's look for another one. This one can be used for furnitures, like office. Free download. Let's just get any random pictures. Crosswalk 1, 2, 3. There you go. Oops. There you go. Download. So let me get these ones first, the three of them, because there's something I want to confirm with the height so that you can correct on that immediately. First rename this one. This one is going to be for the office, and this one is going to be for the cargo. There you go. Then cut this one. Desktop. MPS, where it's located. There you go. Assets, images, paste it there. These are GPG files. So when you go here, we check for not animal, but the cargo. So you say cargo, and then there's for the office. Just come and say office. Then you can get like a pickup. So we do have it at the size we want because we inherited the width. Yes, that's what I wanted to confirm. So we can even get, instead of putting cars, we can just put like house furnitures, car transport, house furniture, office things, farm products, animal transport, cargo, packers and movers. Let's get a furniture, like a sofa set. House furnitures. Pixels. I don't know the reference when they talk about house furniture. They just want to mention sofa set. Let's get something like let's get this picture. Rename this one to furniture. Let's get a pickup or farm pickup. Farm pickup. Not much of a help here. Let's try to see if we can get here. Pickup. Let's go with this one. We just need images. Later on we'll just be able to put different things. And I think those ones are fine. How many are we remaining with? So I have like a house furniture, I have pickup, and what else? I have pickup, animal. So we can just say horse. I don't know what the name of the pickup, but there's a horse something that is used to transport horses. Type horse transport, maybe the system can be able to understand. Let me see. Oh, this one brings me horses from the 90s. Funny. This one is good. those ones are enough. So let's finish up on this part so that we can do something else and finish up on this project. Call this horse, call this pickup, then move all this one to go to your desktop, look for MPS, inside assets, images, paste. Go back to your code, let's finish up. We have office, we have house, so here just write house, I mean furniture. And then we have farm, just write pickup. And then here we have what? Car, house, office things, pickup, animal. This is where I write horse. And you're done. So let's just have a view. Now we can be able to see that some images have been distorted. So we need to get a maximum height so that all the images are uniform and are not distorted. But you can see our service page is done, which means we have done quite well. So we go back to our style where the image is. Then you can say mean height. Mean height should not be less than 60 pixels, but I think I'm wrong. If I say width 100%, what will happen? Okay, works well though. Let me try something. You distort so that you can get the right dimension. Then start coming down to 200. Once you get to 200, you can be able to see that that's where we want it. Now you see the images are all uniform, so the images are not distorting themselves. We have a width of 100% and the height, the mean height is that. So if we have the mean height, some images might be bigger, so we should also have a maximum height the same, so that you can have a uniform image. Then the maximum height, so it cannot go beyond that. There you go. So far so good. Let's see what we need to remove on this. I think we can remain with the borders. Yeah, we can remain with the borders. So we have our home, we have our services. Now what we need to do, we need to have our request, because we don't have a request. So we need to have a section for request. This is just going to be a form, a section for login and sign up. Then we are done with the front end part for this, for the client side. When you go to the back end side, we just need a dashboard. So let's just do this one very quickly. Create a new file, call it requests.php. Not PHP, sorry, .html. I'm more like my mind is already on the PHP part. So as you can see, when you go to request, it's request.html. So we need to get ourselves moving. You can just copy even this one from here, come to this part, paste, and then go and delete the service section so that you can have a place for the form. Let's remove this part. then remove the whole of it up to that part. So we will have our own request form and end of request form. End of request form. So you just call it request. Enter. Inside the request, we're going to have a header, a3. Just say request for service. Yes. So we're going to have, instead of request form, request quote. So that's the header. Then we're going to have our form. So we create our form with a class name, then call it request form. We're not going to use the labels. We'll make our work easier by using just input. So the first input, we're going to have a placeholder of we need a full name. Full name. Type is text. Close that. Copy and paste. So we'll have full name, contact, email. When you're requesting, we'll be needing these details. So this is going to be for contact. The next one is going to be for email. And then this other one, we will require an address. So we can have a text area or just an input, but it will be putting an address where the packet is. So we can say origin, and then into brackets say where the package located from. We call this one is from the origin, where the package is located. And then we can have another one. Is delivered. So this one is going to be destination. And then we can have a select where the service is being. So we can have a select. And then we can have something like we have to put an option. Here we say select service needed. Select service needed. Then we can have extra options. Okay, here you can say it's a car transport. Of house furniture. Just copy this, add this on this, like this is the select car transport, office furniture. And then the last one, we can just put packers and movers. Apart from that, we're going to have schedule date. Oh, it's not an option, sorry. So it's an input, but of type date. So you can say schedule date when you want to be picked. Schedule date. Let's just put a date here. And then the last thing is the remark. This is going to be a text area. So like an added information. Just put rows 5. Here you can add a label for now. Just say schedule date. Okay. And then the final thing is the button, submitting button. You can have it as an input. Again, type, submit. Then value, just say submit. In caps maybe. Then we can end it there. Okay. So when you go and reload the page, you should be able to see something like this. So we need to be able to design this to look more appealing to a user. So we're going to design the request. So we go back to our sign up. This is going to be fast. We don't need to waste time. So our request, start with border, solid, 2 pixels, black, display, flex direction, column, padding 20 pixels. Okay. Text align center so that the header goes at the center. So when you reload the page, you should be able to see something like this. Now we come to the form, request form, not in caps. Display, flex direction, column, border, so that you can be able to see where it is, see what we're working with. Margin auto, because we want it at the center. There you go. Now we're starting to do the thing we want. There's something funny about our code. Let's first of all increase the width to 700 pixels of our form. Let's see. There you go. We increase the padding of all the input fields. So just come and tell this guy that we need all the inputs. Instead of putting height, you just put the padding instead. 20 pixels, maybe that's a lot. 20 pixels. Nice. We can work with this one. We can put some gap. The gap is in the form, gap 10px. There you go. We can now get rid of the border. This was supposed to be remark. or rather you say additional information, which is also optional. There you go. So we're making things simple. We can come here and style the select because it's not the way we want. The reason why we're using inputs on most of the things to make our work easier and move fast. So request form, then we need to style the select. You can say padding 20 pixels like the rest. Okay, I think we are done up to that point. We can style our button so that it can have a different color. So we can say request button btn, since it's a class name also. We're going to put that. I know we haven't put, but we're going to put it. So we can say background color. You can have that one. Color of the text can be even Alice blue. And then when you hover, it should be able to change. In fact, this is when you hover, because I want to create it like the other side. When you hover, there you go. Now this one, background will be linear gradient. So I'll just go and copy some linear gradient I saw here. Come and paste it. There you go. Nice. So that now this request button should be the class name of our button. So give it a class, then that's it. Reload. There you go. There you go. So we get rid of the border of the form, and everything else is going to be very simple. So we can duplicate the CSS on the login and the form much easier that way, because it's the same. We don't need to replicate things. Service card, service description, request form. Get rid of the border, just comment it out, come back, reload the page. There you go. Nice. So we need to be able to do the same thing with the login. We have our home, we have our services, we have our request quote, and now there's something I'm thinking about. But we'll come to it later. So let's create our login and the sign up. So you're going to reuse the code. Let's start with the login.html and signup.html too. If you come to request, a few things we're just going to change, but we're going to reuse the code. Come to login. When you come to the server side, you'll see that we can change a lot of things, but right now we just need a stable way. So this one is going to be login form. Then this one can be, maybe you can log in using the email, and then a place for the password. You can remove this one to be password. Then you can get rid of all these other things we do not need. We just remain with the button, and then change this one to login. As simple as that. Yes, login. Should be able to see that the moment you go to login, you see something like this, email, password, because it's the same. So sometimes it's good, you can just reuse the CSS code. You don't need to change a lot. We can do the same for the sign up. So for the sign up, just come and take the request again, copy it, go to sign up, pop. Oh, I did copy, come to sign up, paste. We get rid of a few things, like yes, we want the full name, we want the email, we want the contact, we want the email. Can get rid of this and change this one to maybe password and confirm password, and then this one is going to be confirm, and then this one changes to also password, then this one confirm password, then get rid of all these other things we do not need. Then you can say register. Then this is a sign up form. So it doesn't matter, full name, contact, email, password, and confirm password. So this is what we need when we're logging up. So we are done with the client side. We have the home page, we have the services, we have the request, and we have the login, and we have the sign up. Probably what I can do now, I can be able to change something on the style.css, and everything will be able to change. Like let's say I say margin top 10 pixels, and I change the color of the border. So I'll just copy one of the colors I've seen here. So I'll just pick this one, come, where the request is, and replace, and replace this one. What did I copy? Okay. I think I copied it twice. There you go. So now I have it the way I want it. Okay, so in our next tutorial, we'll be able to do the admin side. We have the dashboard. Once we're done with the dashboard, then we can now proceed to connecting our code with the backend and start doing the real thing on the server side. build the database schemas, show relationships. So stick with me, subscribe, so that you can be getting this tutorial and see how we're going to finish up on this project. So far so good. Let's see what we can be able to do on our next tutorial.